Hey guys, it's Smifu. Today I'm bringing you an in-depth guide on my Infernus build, the one I actually use in-game every single day. If you want to do stuff like you're seeing on the screen right now, be absolutely unkillable and burn the whole enemy team at the same time, then stick around and watch the guide. I talk about every single item and why it is good. I also go in-depth on why I think Boundless Spirit is a bad buy when I see it in most other Infernus builds. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for the channel. The next build coming out will be for Pocket, but if you leave a comment asking for a hero, then I'll get round to it. Thank you and enjoy the video. So to get into this build, we're going to start with the lane items. I love to start off with Headshot Booster. I think it's very important. Without Headshot Booster in lane, Infernus's bullets don't deal much damage at all. So it's very hard to get any good poke out of Infernus from range. And poking can be a huge part of lane. So with Headshot Booster, just a small spray like this becomes 100 plus damage, which is a giant chunk in lane. I find it almost impossible not to buy this item. It's very oppressive in lane. A must buy for me. Then I move on to basic mag. For extra ammo, the extra 7 bullets you'll get in Infernus's clip just helps for keeping people burning and just overall outgoing DPS. It also upgrades into Titanic mag later, which is something I also buy in the build very late. It just got buffed to get more bullet resist, so it's a great item now. The next item I usually go for is Infuser. This item is pretty mandatory for Infernus, and it's a huge power spike early, especially for a 500 item. Again, it gives you another 3 bullets, so bumping you up from 27 to 37 by buying basic mag and Infuser. You also get 20% spirit lifesteal, which is great to apply when you flame dash or when you catalyst and burn someone. I'm now healing for 20% of this damage. And also, his afterburn starts at really low DPS, so adding an extra 16 spirit power is going to put 8 DPS on this because it scales 0.5. So it's a huge power spike in lane. It's a lot of damage. It's also good stats in general. Bonus health is good. You get spirit power just from it being a spirit item, and you get extra ammo. So yeah, great item. Then we move on to greens, and we start getting a little bit more survivable. Enduring Spirit is 100% what you want to take. Bonus health, which is great. Spirit lifesteal, which is great. Spirit power, which is great. Again, just all around good things for Infernus. Now we have our base items. We're going to look at buffing ourselves even more. We're going to go for Soul Shredder. Soul Shredder is another 20% lifesteal. So with this and Infuser, you already have 40% spirit lifesteal when you activate this and when you deal spirit damage from shooting someone. Just doing this, I'm now getting 40% of that damage lifestealed, plus my spirit damage is amped by 10%. Like this item was just made for Infernus. He has to shoot people to deal spirit damage for the most part. His afterburns his main damage. So it just works amazing with his kit. Then the last item we're going to pick up that's like super important for lane is Sprint Boots. Sprint Boots is great for roaming from lane to lane, getting ganks set up. So with Sprint Boots and your Flame Dash, you're just going to be very efficient at going from lane to lane, helping your teammates, helping take other guardians, or ganking people. Also, for laning phase, something to keep in mind is that anytime you need it, could be your first item, could be your third item, healing right is a very, very good addition. If you're having a rough lane and you're getting a lot of damage put out onto you, and you need to just chill a little bit, heal up, and not go back to base, because going back to base can be very detrimental. You can miss waves, you can miss a lot of farm, they can get a lot of damage on your tower. Healing Rake's a good item to just, keep you in the fight. It's a lot less downtime than going back to base multiple times, since you only get 1 speed boost every, say, 5 minutes, I think. 6 minutes, maybe. But yeah, Healing Rake avoids that, and it keeps you in the fight. Moving on to the next item to buy in this build. I like to go Quicksilver Reload and bind it to my Catalyst. This item is a huge power spike for Infernus, in my opinion. I don't see people buy it all too often, but I have seen it before. So what this is going to do is it's going to add 50 damage to your Catalyst when Quicksilver Reload is off cooldown, so every 12 seconds, which is going to make Catalyst deal 100 damage instead of 55 or 106, as you just saw. And it's going to instantly reload your gun when you use Catalyst, and it's going to give you a 15% fire rate bonus. So the reason I like this item so much is because Infernus's bullets don't do too much damage. It's all about keeping your burn on someone. So early game, being able to do that and reload your gun to full and have a fire rate increase just gives you massive, massive single target damage and can win you 1v1s very quickly this early in the game. So now we've got a little damage power spike. We're going to go with some survivability. Here we're going to pick up Spirit Lifesteal. Now, with Spirit Lifesteal, Soul Shredder bullets, Infuser, and Enduring Spirit, we're going to be able to reach a total of 71% lifesteal. So we'll get the 20% lifesteal from this, which is active now, but it doesn't show up down here. And we get the 20% lifesteal from this, which does show up when you activate it, plus these, which makes 51. 71% lifesteal this early in the game is huge. It's going to make you very hard to 1v1. It's going to make you very hard to kill, especially on top of your mobility and things like that. Now we're going to go to the headpiece of pretty much all Infernus builds everywhere. This is one item you pretty much have to take on this hero. Get 100 bonus health, which you can't complain at. It's great. 14% weapon damage because it's a tier 3 weapon item. But the specific item effects are what's important here. So you got a 5% bleed per second. This is 5% of the enemy's current health, which means that it's not going to be lethal. It will only ever do percentage-based damage. But that works great with the afterburn because you're going to be doing more damage with the toxic bullets dot. And then your afterburn, being a lethal dot itself, is going to finish people off. So these two things, afterburn and toxic bullets, go hand in hand extremely well. And that's not even mentioning that the meta right now is very, very tanky. There's a lot of healing, a lot of health. So minus 65% healing reduction to target suffering from the effect of toxic bullets is very, very strong. It is potent. You really, really have to buy this item on this hero. Going back over to some spirit items. We're going to buff our damage some more. We're going to get Mystic Vulnerability. This item comes with 6% Spirit Resist, which is nice. We're going to be building up Spirit Resist later in the build. But it also reduces the opponent's Spirit Resist by 12% every time you deal any spirit damage to them, indicated by this icon right here. So pretty much everything Infernus does is going to keep this on an opponent because it has no cooldown. So this item just works very, very well with Infernus's kit. These blue numbers actually mean that Mystic Vulnerability is reducing their Spirit Resist to 0% or under 0%. Now we're going to buy Duration Extender. Now Duration Extender doesn't really explain too well what it does. It might not be obvious at first hand, but it extends everything basically. So extend the duration that burn is on people. Also extends the build up, fall off. So you will have longer time to apply this before the debuff runs out. It'll extend how long you can flame dash. It will extend how long the flame dash stays on the floor. It will make the damage amp stay on enemies for longer. Duration extender is just incredible for Infernus. Every single thing he uses is buffed by this. Infuser, for this build specifically, is buffed by this. Toxic bullets is buffed by this, I think. No, I think it is. Last purple item I want to speak about right now is Suppressor. So I like to only use 4 slots on purples. I don't like to use a flex on purple on this hero. I'll explain why later, and I'll get into why greens are so overpowered. But for me, I take Quicksilver Reload 95% of the time. However, it can be good if you're against a lot of Mouse 1 heroes, like Warden, Haze, Wraith, to take Suppressor. Every time you apply your dot to someone, for the whole duration, for any time they're taking spirit damage, and you're going to be doing this a lot on Infernus, their fire rate is going to be slowed by 25%, which is just a huge, huge debuff to put on Mouse 1 heroes. Also, the stats are pretty good. 2.5 health regen's nice. 12 spirit power total and 50 bonus health. Good stats overall. But for now, we're going to go with Quicksilver Reload, just because it's what I prefer for most of the time. Now we're going to have to make a choice. This is going to be your last cheap sort of item. We're going to get into the big boys after this. But you're going to make a choice between bullet armor and spirit armor. 90% of the time, you're going to go for spirit armor. Only time you'll go for bullet is if there's a lot of bullet damage on the enemy team. Usually, bullet damage heroes also deal spirit damage, which is why spirit is just going to be better. But the main reason is that 95% of the burst damage in this game that you're going to suffer is spirit damage. Abilities deal burst spirit damage usually. So for you to stay alive long enough to benefit from your spirit lifesteal, you need to take less spirit damage. It's going to help you stay in the fight, and it's going to help you be able to lifesteal for longer and survive for longer. Now, moving on to the big boy items, and probably Infernus's most important item and biggest power spike, it's Leech. If you don't have a flex slot by this point, sell Enduring Spirit. You're going to have to sell Enduring Spirit later on anyway, so I'll sell it now for the purpose of the video. Now you have Leech. which is going to bump your base spirit lifesteal up to 58%. When you activate your soul shredder bullets, that's 78%, which is obviously huge. And when you activate Infuser, 98% spirit lifesteal. You also get 35% bullet lifesteal on top of that, 20% extra base health, which is insane. The fact that every tier 4 green item has this is crazy. You can get so healthy on certain heroes. And the other stats are good too. 15% weapon damage, 12 spirit power, 175 bonus health. It's great. Honestly, just an insane item. Disgusting for Infernus, since lifesteal is how he stays alive. Now, since Leech recently got a nerf, we are going to be buying Healing Booster as the absolute must-buy next item. This item increases the effectiveness of your healing, all healing, by 25%. You'll see in the little section on the right there what it modifies. And it's also going to increase your resistance to healing reduction-based debuffs by 15%. So when someone puts Decay on you, or when someone's applying Heal Bane with the spirit damage, the effect of that is going to be reduced by 15%. Absolutely mandatory now that Leech got nerfed and no longer has this effect. You really have to buy this item. With Healing Booster, you're now going to have a 72% base lifesteal because it buffs Spirit lifesteal from 23 to 29, Leech from 35 to 44, and Infuser from 20 to 25. So activating all these things, you're going to get 98% plus 25% from Soul Shredder bullets, which is just an insane amount of lifesteal. It's crazy. So you're going to go 98%, then 123% with this. That's a stupid amount of lifesteal. And that's not even including this. You'll have 15% lifesteal against victims that are suffering from Catalyst at a point when you've got 2 points into it. So that's 123%, 138% you're going to have. The next item I like to go pretty often, but not always, is Shadow Weave. This is the biggest possible damage spike you can get on Infernus at this point in the game for this price. It comes with a plus 55 spirit power, which is gigantic for his afterburn. And this lasts for 9.28 seconds, you'll see, at this point in the build, when you come out of the invis. It's also going to give you 40% fire rate when you come out of invis. So the base stats on this item are great. 15 health regen is crazy good. 300 spirit shield health is amazing. And 30% ammo is crazy. Plus, you get the tier 4 vitality 20% base health, which is insane. Again, you're going to be stacking green items. You're going to get so much fucking health. Your gank power also goes through the roof with this item. So you're going to be running around invis, probably going to the enemy's jungle. You're going to find someone with a fat bag. You're going to pop your infuser. You're going to spray them. You're going to quicksilver reload, and they're going to die. They're going to take a crazy amount of damage, because the spirit power buff from Shadow Weave is so crazy. So now that Infernus's Flame Dash has been nerfed to be affected by slows, Enduring Speed at this point is a must-buy. You're going to be getting slowed a lot at this point in the game probably, so you really need Enduring Speed to keep going fast and to keep your mobility. This item reduces the effect of movement slows by 40%. It gives you more move speed flat. It gives you health and gives you health regen. Just a huge speed increase and needed now to be able to still go fast when flame dashing. The next thing I like to do is to buy Fleetfoot and replace Headshot Booster. This item makes it so that you're going full speed still when you're shooting, which is pretty good for Infernus, because without Fleetfoot, he's actually very slow when shooting. He walks like a snail. So this item is really good for that. And also when you need to finish someone off, but you don't quite have enough bullets left in your mag, this will give you 30% of your mag as temporary ammo while it's active. So you're spraying someone, you're running low on bullets, you pop Infuser, you pop Fleetfoot, and you get 30% of your mag extra. Which makes it great for chasing and finishing off targets. Also can be used, obviously, to get away. It's a huge speed boost. Now, at this point in the game, we're going to upgrade our Spirit Armor to improve Spirit Armor. This is going to make us very tanky. With our other Spirit Resists from other sources, like, what was it? Healing Booster, I think? Yeah. We're going to be at 51% Spirit Resist at all times. which is very important for staying alive and being able to make use of our lifesteal from all this damage that we're doing. Again, if you chose bullet armor because of the game you're in, you're going to get improved bullet armor instead. And you're going to have 45% bullet resist and 12% spirit resist. If you end up needing spirit resist, you can actually use a flex slot to have both of these. But then you might end up having to sell more of these later for other flex slots. Now we're going to move on to other 6.3k items. Assuming you haven't bought Shadow Weave because you're not going to buy it always, you still have 3 flex slots to fill up. So the next item I'm going to buy is Inhibitor. Inhibitor is broken. This item is ridiculous. Again, following the theme of tier 4 vitality items, you get 25% weapon damage, which is nice, and a plus 175 bonus health. This item reduces enemies' damage by 35% just by shooting them. So this, plus the first talent and afterburn, which you will obviously have by this point in the game, is going to be reducing an enemy's outgoing spirit damage by 65% just from you burning them and shooting them. That's it. So now mid-fight, you're going to focus a pocket or something like that. Whichever spirit damage dealer is doing the most against your team, you're going to shoot them, and they're now doing 65% less spirit damage to your whole team and 35% less bullet damage. This item is extremely broken and really needs to be looked at. Definitely one of the most underrated items in the game, probably up there in the top 3 items in the entire game. Next, we look at Unstoppable. Unstoppable is a tier 4 vitality item. Again, 20% base health. You see the theme here, we're stacking up health. We're becoming a crazy tank. It's going to come with 15% spirit resist, 1 move speed, and 12 spirit power. So further increasing your damage whilst making you so much more survivable. So now we're at 59% spirit resist. We are immune to CC, which is incredible for mid-boss. Incredible for being able to flame dash through the whole team, you know, get burns on, get stuns on, and just survive. And at the same time, yeah, we're buffing our damage. The item is crazy good. However, if you're not facing too much CC and you're looking instead to increase your damage, the best thing you can do for your damage at this point in the game is Crippling Headshot. That's because you get 12% of each lifesteal with Healing Booster, which is great. You get 38% weapon damage from the 20% extra and the 18% from a tier 4 weapon item. But you're also reducing the target's bullet and spirit resist by 24% each just by landing 1 headshot, indicated by this symbol right here. So I say this is the best item for damage because late game, you can probably sell Fleetfoot for this. So you have a pretty open slot for it. But also the reason you're going to need more damage is because people have more resists late game. They've been buying spirit armor. So if people buy a lot of spirit armor, 100% the best item you can get for consistent damage is Crippling Headshot. Another tier 4 weapon item I want to talk about, you will have seen a clip of this being really effective earlier, is Ricochet. Now, at this point in the game, when I like to buy it, it will help you farm better, but it's so late into the game that you don't really need to worry about farming at this point. What this is more for is applying Inhibitor to 3 people at once, applying your burns to 3 people at once, applying the minus 30% spirit damage debuff to 3 people at once, and dealing damage to 3 people at once. You're going to be extremely oppressive with this item. You're getting fire rate, you're getting ammo, and you're applying everything you can very efficiently to 3 people. So instead of getting your lifesteals from 1 target, you're getting lifesteals from 3 people at once, assuming it's hitting 3 people at the time. This item can be very potent, but sometimes it can be underwhelming. It does like to bounce to minions sometimes, and other times you just won't see people jumping on you in that numbers, and you might just be hitting 1 guy that's trying to kill you and it won't hit any of his teammates. But it is still a very good item to buy late on this hero. The final things I want to talk about are the upgrades. This late into the game, you can probably buy Titanic Magazine. You can also buy this earlier if you're facing a lot of bullet damage, but you bought Spirit Armor instead, just to get your bullet resist up to 15%. now you just have a huge mag. Plus Quicksilver reload, you have 57 bullets times 2 to just melt people and constantly be putting out damage, constantly be life stealing, etc. Next thing I want to talk about is Mystic Slow. This item I almost never buy. This is only something you buy if you got Suppressor instead of Quicksilver reload. However, something you can do late is buy it instead of Infuser. At this point, you have plenty of healing. You don't really need Infuser for the damage or for the lifesteal. It's still good. Like I said, I usually don't do this at all. I usually stick with Infuser. But if you have gone for the Suppressor route, you can sell Infuser and get Quicksilver along with Mystic Slow. And the final late buy for me, this is a very, very late buy, and we'll talk about why in a second, is Escalating Exposure. This is going to amplify your spirit damage by 6% every time a target takes spirit damage. Only against the specific target, though, so you can't build it up on one target and then use the amps on another target. So you'll see it indicated here. Every 0.7 seconds, there will be a stack. It's not working properly. There's usually a 1 or a 2 there, but the sandbox can be buggy. But every 0.7 seconds, it's going to stack this up to a maximum of, I can't remember how many stacks. I think it's 15 or something like that, 10 maybe. But it's going to amplify your spirit damage against a target. Every 0.7 seconds, they'll get a stack. I don't think this item's worth buying early at all. You're not going to be getting much value from it when you compare it to a tier 4 green item like these two. These two are so much more value than this will ever be. You're not struggling for damage. I'm building 4 greens, barely any oranges, and purple items, and I'm still getting the most damage in the lobby with the most healing. The only time you're really going to get value from this item is if you're focusing down only tanks. Already, it's overkill, in my opinion, in that situation. You don't need more damage against tanks because you're not necessarily the one who's going to melt tanks. You struggle for burst damage on this hero, so what your aim is to do is to debuff them. You're debuffing tanks' damage with your inhibitor and your afterburn. You're debuffing their healing heavily by 65%. So, you know, going for a bit more damage that costs you 6k is not great. It's not something I want to do at all. It's definitely the last buy possible on Infernus for me. So before I want to show you my ideal endgame build for Infernus, I want to talk about why I don't buy Boundless Spirit or any of its components. Now, this sort of build, this area in the game is where you see people buying Boundless Spirit usually after Leech, and they usually buy it for more damage, right? Now, my beef with Boundless Spirit is its price and the fact that it's a purple. So Boundless Spirit looks great. You're going to be getting plus 60 spirit power, plus the 16, so that's 76. That's 38 damage or DPS onto your afterburn, which seems huge until you realize that it's not that huge. And you can also get damage from buying items that buff your survivability even harder. So at this point in the game, you're going to spend 10k on Boundless Spirit, and it's going to buff your spirit damage, sure. You're going to be doing more with your burns, you're going to be doing more with your flame dash. But my point is that instead of buying Boundless Spirit, I would spend that 10k elsewhere. I would have Shadow Weave, which gives me 55 spirit power when I'm coming out of ambush. It gives me spirit shield health, gives me 30% ammo, which feels amazing. It gives me 20% bonus health, and it also gives me the ability to gank. Being able to gank is extremely valuable. And when you're using Shadow Weave, you're going to have pretty much the same damage as you would with Boundless, right? And you've spent 3k or 3.5k less on this item, which you can put elsewhere. You can now save up for Inhibitor earlier, or you can go improve Bullet Armor. You can have both of these items at pretty much the same time you would have Boundless Spirit. You're now much tankier, much more survivable, and you're still dealing the most damage in the game, pretty much. It's going to be very hard for people to out-damage you, because your survivability is through the roof, and you have huge damage buffs when you come out of Shadow Weave. Another option, instead of Shadow Weave, is to go Unstoppable. Sure, it's less of a damage spike, but you still get damage. You still get 12 spirit power. You get incredible utility from this item, especially around mid-boss. You get 15% spirit resist, move speed, and bonus health. Again, just so much better value. Now you have 60 spirit power all the time, 76 when you pop Infuser. You also can afford improved bullet armor instead of spending the 10k on Boundless Spirit. This item is just way too much money for way too less damage. It's great if you could buy this item really, really early and it will be a huge percentage increase. But as you see with these items, my afterburn is at 75 DPS. If I was to sell these and buy Boundless, I've now lost an insane amount of survivability from losing the bullet armor and the unstoppable, and all I have gained is damage. That's it. When Infernus really doesn't struggle for damage at all anyway. The strong part about Infernus is how high his damage becomes with such small investment. You want to focus on survivability for Infernus. That leads me on to talk about my ideal, very endgame build for Infernus. So this right here is my ideal endgame build for Infernus. Probably swapping out Infuser as well at this point because you have enough survivability. You don't need the small extra damage from Infuser. You don't need the lifesteal. You have a crazy amount of lifesteal already. I would swap this out for Mystic Slow. And now you're just debuffing the entire enemy team during fights, and you're incredibly survivable. The way Ricochet works is that if you hit the head, you also hit the head with your Ricochet bullets, which means you're applying crippling headshot to so many people at once, and you also have all this crazy survivability. I have 3,100 health at this point in the game, with 85% Spirit Lifesteal, not including Soul Shredders. So 105% Spirit Lifesteal, 3,100 health, and crazy damage numbers, and crazy debuffs. This is by far the best way to build Infernus, in my opinion. You know, if you're facing a lot of CC, you can buy Unstoppable instead of Shadow Weave or Ricochet. I would not lose Inhibitor. Inhibitor is extremely important. Too broken of an item to sell. You could even sell Spirit Lifesteal to put Unstoppable in. I hope you guys try it out, and I hope you like it. So guys, thank you for watching my Infernus deep dive build. If you want to use the build in-game, you can find it here. You go Browse Builds in the top right. Public. And I'm somewhere on the top page right now. Here, you can click it. I have short explanations here because Valve messed up the build page, so I can't actually write long explanations at all. Luckily enough, this video has told you everything you need to know. Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.